One of the most common uses of tables is to align a series of images that are actually broken apart pieces of one image. One of the most common reasons for this is if some of the images are going to be animated. This page demonstrates that. This is a page from the book I did with my sister, Creative HTML Design. And over here is the document that produces that page. You'll notice that there are 9 images, all of them GIFs. Just 2 of them have animation. And this page, of course, validates. I ran it through the validator at validator.w3.org. In order to do that, of course, I had to put in all these empty alt attributes. It wouldn't validate without them. Now, there's a significant difference between this page and this page. They look very similar, and there's one difference. And if we look at them in the browser, we'll see that that's the bad version, which is that one. And that's the good version, which is that one. The only difference here is these end tags for the TD container. Both of these pages validate at the validator. This page validates, and this page validates. However, one of them works and one of them doesn't. And I'm using an old version of Netscape Navigator because, well, newer browsers seem to correct for this. Now, you'll find a lot of your visitors still use Netscape 4, and this is Netscape 4, and this is what it does with the version that doesn't have the end tags. And the reason for that is actually a good reason. Remember, HTML treats all spaces as if they are one space. Here we have a TD, which is a container, and no end tag. Now, the end tag is technically optional in TD. I always use it now. I used to sometimes not use it. So the browser, as it's parsing the document, doesn't really consider the end of the table cell until it sees that the next one begins, because that tells it that that's where the implied end tag would happen. And so this new line and these spaces all get folded into one space, and that puts a space at the end right after the image before the end of the cell. So technically these spaces are there because they are here. And in the good version, they are not. So this is one thing. The image has no space after it before the end of the cell, and all that space happens in the no man's land between the end of one cell and the beginning of another, so it doesn't get displayed. So the lesson here is when assembling images like this, and this is a very common use of tables, it's a very good idea to have your end tag right up against the end of the image and your begin tag right up against the beginning of the image. And that way you can have this result instead of this result.